for me, in order to appreciate and or acknowledge or assess beauty, for me to attest the greatness of God and or divinity, I had to be humbled. And often it wasn't upon my personal indiscretions and or transgressions. Like, it wasn't of my doings, yet rather I was just positioned to be humbled before I even evoked humility. So in order for me to attest, appreciate, assess, acknowledge beauty, divinity, and ultimately God, I had to be humbled, because there was this needed contrast, with the good and the bad, the positive and or negative. There's this contrast that is provided to furthermore encourage the ability to distinguish what is good and or bad, if that makes any sense. So I was given a contrast that I had to distinguish to furthermore acknowledge a value. You know what I mean? And that also made me think of love and respect. In order for me to love you, I have to respect you. I can't respect you without love. And also, when assessing love, it is more than tranquility. So in order for me to provide the qualities that is often associated with love, like compromise or communication, comprehension, loyalty, in order for me to provide these assets or attributions of love, I have to respect you. Yet where is this respect derived? Value. I have to see value in you for me to respect you. I have to see value within something and or somebody to value it, to furthermore respect it, to furthermore love it. So in it all, it leads me back to humility, because there's this given contrast that I have to decipher in order to distinguish that something is of value at which I should respect, and furthermore I will love. You know what I mean? Even when I think of like my parents and my siblings, or my sibling, I love them not just on the grounds of familiarity, but I respect them to weather the storms that we've experienced with one another. Me and my father, me and my mother, me and my brother. I have to respect them. I have to respect them enough to apologize for my shortcomings and be accountable enough to acknowledge that. But I also have to assess the value to even do such. You know what I mean? So hopefully this makes sense. This is just a conversation that I wanted to have. And furthermore, I guess I wanted to have this conversation too, because when you experience an abrupt loss, when you experience a traumatic loss, as I've mentioned before, I'm not going to go into detail, but I've mentioned it before on my channel. And when you just experience loss, when you experience things that in that moment, because it is demobilizing, if only momentarily, sometimes you feel like, dang, like, how can I even recover from this? How do I even revitalize my life? How do I even live anymore? You question mortality. And I don't know, sometimes there's certain things that you're going through that will encourage the lack of perseverance, but that you could very well persevere through it. And it always takes me back to the saying of, to do what is simple isn't always easy. We'll go through difficulties and we'll know that it's simply solved, but it's not always the easiest of transitions. But it's possible. That within the bad, there is a good that is to come. Even if it's not the best, that it gets better. When I lost my grandfather, when I lost my close family friend, it was almost like this feeling where you just I can't wait until things get better, because for a fact things will get better. Even if it's not perfect, it'll never be perfect. You'll never not miss these people. You'll never not, not yearn for their physical existence, but it'll get better. That you'll find healthier ways, hopefully, to cope with their loss. And that just made me think of humility. These experiences humbled me. With these experiences, I now have the knowledge to acknowledge things in a different way than before. So that's all I wanted to really say with this commentary. Hopefully it made sense. I'm working on doing more informal commentaries because I'm quite the perfectionist, so I always strive to get my point across as correctly or efficiently as possible. But, I'm working on being more informal and just speaking as I'm inspired, so to speak. So yeah, hopefully this was good. Hopefully it was something that resonated. I don't know. And just to further assess, or rather explain my point, you can even think in the tense of Christianity, and you think of Jesus. And we always love to discuss how Jesus died on the cross for us, and Jesus, endured torture for our sanctuary, that is heaven, and for us to be able to navigate life with a bit more ease. But in order for Jesus to be this example that he often is, even when you think of his disciples, in order for them to be the examples that they are, they had to experience the duality of life, the good and the bad. There had to be a contrast to furthermore assess the value, to furthermore appreciate the good, yet to also acknowledge the bad. So, you think of Jesus dying on the cross. I don't think I would respect Jesus if he didn't, go through the adversities that he went through, and he's trying to teach to me what I should be, preach unto me what I should be doing, prophesize unto me what I should be doing, and he hasn't gone through the things that he's, assuring me that will approve, or, you know what I mean? Like, it's hard to listen to someone. It's hard to really appreciate the words or to assess the value of someone that has not experienced a suffering or experienced a difficulty or experienced a trauma. You know what I mean? Like, God had to become one with flesh, literally from spirit to flesh, or Jesus, God had to send his only begotten son from spirit to flesh to be one with us, just so we could really, I guess, develop a profound respect for him and what have you. So hopefully that makes sense, you know what I mean? Or even taking it more cinematically, you think of Freedom Riders, as this is based on a true story. Those kids were not going to listen to this Caucasian teacher until she really got into the belly of what they were going through and was able to assess their adversity as she was, surrounded within it. Like, she was a part of it. It wasn't just something that she was reading about. It wasn't something that she just saw on TV. Like, these were the children that she was engaging with in this environment. So she was able to better assist them because she understood what they were going through. That simple understanding, which is a simple acknowledgement, which allows you to place more value in what you're doing to, distinguish that good and bad and favor the good than the bad, hopefully.